Good morning. It's a beautiful Thanksgiving. Uh, Decided I'd come out here and do this video in the sunshine, have a little coffee with y'all. We're going to talk about a few things. First things I want to discuss are real freedom and my Fed case. And I've debated on whether or not to share the details of my federal case in 2022 with you guys. But some things happened, and I just want to touch on some of this stuff because I think there's a strong misconception of what people feel free is, and granted, all this is theory in my opinion. It doesn't mean anything. You can come to your own conclusions about this stuff, but okay, I'll start with this. Before I went to jail last year, and I was in Chattanooga, I had a lot of shit. I had tools, I had equipment, I had a home, I had a garden, I had a car. I just had stuff, man. Really. I walked away from everything I had. I came home with nothing when Mom and I left in December from Chattanooga, and she brought me down here. I had a bag of some clothes, and still to this day, that's what I've got, other than I've actually got a little bank account. What I'm getting at is all that stuff that I had while I was using, it was almost like I was a slave to that stuff, man. And it's like, here I am and I've got nothing. And don't get it twisted, man. Y'all have seen Mom's little sun porch. I live comfortably. But you got to keep in mind, this is my mother's shit. Ain't none of this stuff mine, man. Ain't none of it going with me when I leave here, if I ever decide to leave here, because I actually enjoy kicking it with Mom. I've got so much more today than I had yesterday. And when I say yesterday, I really mean last year, and the year before that, and the year before that. It's breaking my ties with dope, dude, has really set me free. So now, that being said, let's talk about freedom for a second. I had a individual get a hold of me through my email that I had listed on the comments, and I had a really nice conversation with this lady. She dropped her phone number, and I was curious, so I called her back, and we talked for about an hour, and we just discussed some stuff, and it was all related to the system and how we're getting screwed and this, that, and the other. Well, I started to get, to where I was over the conversation. I had things to do. It was late, and so I was, getting wrapped up. And here comes the question, and I thought this was interesting because it was like, I try to be really transparent with all the stuff that I'm doing and the knowledge that I've got, because everyone's got to keep in mind, I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm trying shit, man. And that's it. So, maybe I got this too tight. Anyways, she says, so, have you got any remedy? Or, if you get a remedy, will you let me know it? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, have you not watched my videos? If I had like an ultimate remedy, I would share it already. And then I got to thinking about it even more, and I got to thinking about my life and the past and other things. And I'm just going to say this because I've already said it once. Man, I love the Lord. The Lord is freedom, man. He is freedom. He, she, whatever pronoun you got to use for it. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's where freedom comes from. It's a mindset. It's a recognition from within that you're bound by nothing of this physical realm. God controls us all, man. He's in us all. John 5:25 says God is spirit, and spirit must be, and God must be worshipped in truth and in spirit. 5:25, man, that scripture changed my life. I can't express this enough. And I'm gonna further elaborate with my Fed case. So, start the story. 2020, like November, it was November. I'm almost certain it was November. It might have been October, and I went to court in November. Anyway, I overdosed at the house in the backyard in a building that a storage building that we used to occupy to just do shit. And so I overdosed, and Kimberly had to call 911 and have them come out and resuscitate me. So police showed up first, dragged me out of the building into the yard. Paramedics arrived, they Narcaned me. After a few minutes I came to, and as soon as I did, police were the first things I saw. So I immediately said, y'all don't have permission to search anything. You need a warrant. As a matter of fact, you need to leave. Well, the police proceeded to tell me that I couldn't tell them what to do because I was under the influence, and they didn't have to listen to me. Interesting statement made by them, by the way, I should think. So, I turned my head, I saw Kim. I said, Kimberly, tell them they need a warrant. She looks up at him, she says, y'all heard the man. You don't have permission to search. So, they said, oh, well, I see a plastic bag. We got probable cause. And allegedly they found a shotgun and a .380. Allegedly. So, I was in the hospital, got treated poorly. I had overdosed before, so I knew how the hospital treated overdoses, and I was there for 15 minutes, and when Officer Martin, who is now no longer employed by the Chattanooga Police Department, he was fired. Anyways, when Officer Martin started asking questions and finally came off and told me that this was about the gun, and I proceeded to remain silent, he basically was tired of waiting on me and said it's time for me to go to jail, so they discharged me and didn't treat me for anything. Went to jail, got bonded, went to court, and 2 ATF agents were waiting on me. We had a little conversation, and they explained to me the severity of what I was dealing with, that I hadn't been charged with anything, blah, blah, blah. Here's a card, give us a call. And that was that. Never saw those people again until I was arrested. No, March 25th, 2022. and I was at traffic court in Chattanooga, and they popped up with an indictment, and it was for one count, 922G, basically possession of a firearm with felony. So I go back to the post office with the marshals or ATF agents, correction, and they left me with the marshals. And went to court that day, and got an attorney, and then they put me in jail. And I think I might have gone back to court like a few days after I was indicted, or after I was arrested, and I don't know, maybe I did, maybe I did. I can't remember. Anyways, we ended up in Ray County Jail. Was there for a couple months, had a problem with some inmates, got jumped by some fucking white boys. And boy, that was a redneck jail, man. You talk about a cliquish place. Oh my God, it was terrible. I mean, it was terrible. I ain't never seen so much slapjawing and hee-hawing with the police and the inmates. I mean, these dudes hugged up on one another and shit. Everybody grew up together. It was weird. Anyways, man, they ended up transferring me to Ocilla, Georgia, Irwin County. They've got a holding facility down there. And I'm just sitting there waiting. But 2 weeks after I was arrested, the attorney comes and sees me, and he tells me, he says, so I got some bad news, Mr. Robinson. The prosecutor's office wants to enhance this, and they're going to be able to do it. So we went from a 120-month sentence to 272 to 327 months. Now, I wasn't too tickled about the 120 months and had already made up my mind on that one. But when he told me this, I was like, oh yeah, we're definitely sticking to our guns here. And I told him, I said, look, this is what I want to do. I said, I didn't do anything wrong. And I'm not pleading to anything because I can't. Spiritually, I know I'm not wrong. I ain't bowing, man. Tell them put 12 in the box. And yeah, I stuck to that. I stuck to that and sat for months waiting on this attorney to do something. And then he finally filed a motion to suppress. And it was a good motion, and we had a good case because of the fact that all of the body cam footage finally came out. And it was all right. But he didn't file that thing until like September. And then in October, they finally started discussing things about it. And we get a little closer to the end of the month, and he's like, yeah, we're going to schedule a hearing date soon. And I'm like, all right, very good. Well, now the prosecution wants to start talking and throwing deals out there. And I forget what the first one was, but I was like, no deal. I want my hearing. So let's have this evidentiary hearing. And he comes back on November 12th, I think. I believe it was the 12th. And he says, well, I got some really, really good news. No, I'm sorry, it was 13th. It was the 13th. And I was like, yeah. I was like, what's that? He says, well, they've really come down on their offer. I said, all right. He said, I know how you feel about this because I've done said it so many times. Like, dude, put 12 in that box, man. I want a jury. We'll let a jury hear this and see what they say. He said, they're offering time served and you go home. He's like, we have to wait a couple of months because I got to get you in front of the judge and the holidays coming up, so it'd be after the first of the year. But time served and you can go home. Now this is the important part of this story, because this is how the freedom is expressed. I'm looking at 272 to 327 months if this doesn't go my way. And there's always a possibility things won't go my way. But I know I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm not pleading to anything that I didn't do. I won't do it. And that goes for a spirituality too. If you tell me to deny God, I would laugh in your face. I know God is real. You're not going to convince me of otherwise, and I'll be damned if I'll ever say it. So when he said that, I thought for a second, and I was like, damn, I could be done. And really be done and go home in a couple of months. Or I could end up sitting here for another year just to find out I'm going to do 30. And I was like, no, I want my hearing, man. Tell them no deal. And he called me the next day and he said they've dismissed your charges. God is good. God is so good, dude. God is so good. I got a homeboy right now up in Manchester. He's doing 9. And I think he could have beat his in a jury trial, really. Freedom is a mindset, man. It is a mindset. If you believe you're somebody's bitch, then you're going to be somebody's bitch. If you know different, I don't know, you start to behave different. I don't have a remedy. I don't know a remedy. That's the point of all of this. But if you're really, really looking for a remedy, man, find God and thank Him every day. I mean, it's that simple. That is really all I do. Every now and again, I just look up at the sun or the moon or stare off in the distance, man, and I'm just like, thank you. Anyways, I'm gonna stop on that note, and we'll pick up with part 2 because I wanted to discuss a few things with you guys. I got a manual of style that's really cool. I wanted to show you that. I wanted to read something out of Amjur Volume 32 for y'all. And I got my UCC 1 filings forms printed yesterday. And I was down at the DMV and had something very, very interesting happen. So yeah, part 2 of this video, we're going to discuss that stuff. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Look, it's probably going to be a little bit before I post or before I get on this other one, but I'm going to go ahead and post this one now. So y'all have a blessed Turkey Day.